Welcome to Your Story Doesn't End Here, the mental health podcast for military and veterans. I'm your host, Rachel, and my mission with this podcast is to be a voice for those who don't have a voice, bring awareness to mental health issues, and provide value and solutions to help make life more abundant. Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming back for another episode. Today's guest is not in the military, not affiliated with the military, but every once in a while we like to have other people come on here and share their stories of resilience and adversity and how they just overcame the most beautiful things in their life and challenges, and just providing the most value to all my listeners who listen into the show. So today's guest is Kellina, and she is a young entrepreneur who loves to help people with their personal growth and educate others about the deaf community. Little do people know, Kellina is actually a hard of hearing person. She became deaf at the age of 4. She recently graduated with a psychology degree and is now starting her own online coaching business while finishing working on her book. Kellina, thank you so much for being on the show today.
I'm super excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, I'd love to just hear a little bit about you and your story, and we'll go from there.
Definitely. So like Michelle said, I became deaf at the age of 4. Honestly, the journey was very rocky roller coaster because I didn't think that I would come this far. I was bullied a lot with school and adults and people not being closer for me. And so that's why I chose to become a mental health coach, writing my book, and trying to explore other opportunities. And that's me.
I love that. So if you're cool, just getting into a little bit about some stories in your life that deal specifically with mental health. I would love to dig a little bit deeper into that, because I actually had a friend growing up who she was deaf. She had a cochlear implant and she was a swimmer. And I just thought that was the most amazing thing in the world, because a lot of times you think that someone who's deaf would be able to swim, because everything involving swimming, you have to be able to hear when they tell you to go, and you have to be able to go at a split second. So what was really cool is the way that she adapted is she would take off her external implant. I don't really know all the anatomy of everything with the cochlear implant, but she'd take off the external device, and then she would have someone next to her on the swimming block. And when they would say on your marks, get set, go, or however they say it in swimming, I think they'd say take your marks and then go. I don't remember, it's been a while. But someone would just lift their finger, and then when they'd say go, they would put their finger down, and she would literally, that is how she would dive off the block. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And this girl was one of the top swimmers in the state. I grew up in Iowa. She was one of the top swimmers, and I just thought it was amazing. So the adaptability of it, but I also know, like you say, there's a bullying side to it. And I never talked to her to see, what she went through, but I would love to hear more about that, and just sharing your stories of adversity, and then also hearing how you overcame everything.
Wow, that's swimmer, amazing. Oh my God, yeah, that honestly, I don't even know how to swim myself, because I did thought that I wouldn't capable of swimming, because you do have to hear a lot in swimming. So unfortunately, I do not know how to swim, but pop to her. Definitely pop to her. For me, honestly, I've been bullied all my life. And, the good thing that I like of what my family did was they put me into a deaf school, and then they put me in a hearing school in the afternoon. So that way I can balance 2 schools. So it's kind of cool, but I realized that my personality was different in 2 communities. And, I was more comfortable in the hearing community, and I was comfortable in the deaf community. And it was just a lot, because I didn't know how to fit in. And that's where my mental health started at such a young age. And I was developing really easily anxiety around the hearing community, because I don't know how to communicate with them, where it's easy for me to communicate with the deaf community. And unfortunately, I did learn sign language when I was in the deaf school, but in the hearing school, there's nobody. So that was unfortunate. So that's why my family, told me not to rely heavy on ASL, and they want me to do verbal. And it was unfortunate because I actually ended up stopped going to the Dutch school and I went to the hand school full time, which I did not like. And I went to the hand school, been bullied a lot, to the point where a kid pushed me down the slide and I injured myself. Actually, it was really bad. And thank goodness for my friends. They all like stood up for me like, "Why are you bullying Kellina?" Da da da. And they were going aggressive. And and the teacher never done anything to prevent it happening again. The fact that I keep going again and again, I told the teacher, they literally just walked all over me, just push under the rug. And I complained to the principal, like, hello, like I fully told you guys I've been bullied. They pushed under the rug again. And my mom showed up with her badge that she's a child youth worker at the time. Because when my mom had me, 'cause my mom's a young mom actually. So she was in college trying to get it done, and get past my mom for doing so many work and me being deaf. And, thank God for my family for supporting my mom, trying to help me to get into the hearing community, how to communicate. And so when my mom showed up to the principal, and the principal didn't know that was my mother at all. They were assuming she was just a youth worker. It was just funny because my mom said, "No, I'm actually Kellina's mother. Can you guys explain to me why the bully never stopped?" And then things changed. And it's just unfortunate that my mom had to show up with the bat just to make something change. It's just not acceptable. And, that was elementary school, now middle school, same thing. Like, it's just ridiculous. It never stopped. And so, honestly, that is my life.
So one thing that's come up for me a lot in the last couple of years is relating childhood trauma to adulthood behavior. And so I'm curious if you ever made that connection. I know you have a psychology degree, so you probably know all about this stuff anyway. So I'd love to hear your perspective on it anyway. But I'm curious how you worked past all that, because obviously bullying is going to affect you in some way when you get older, um, or just being different in general, I think affects us in some way. Because a lot of times as humans will internalize that. And I'm not sure if that was how you processed everything. We all process things a little differently, but I would love to hear just about how you overcame that childhood trauma portion, or maybe you're still working on it.
Um, so for me, how I work on my trauma is honestly just listening and watching positive things, like reading mindset books, psychology books, because I love psychology. And it helped me to learn about how I can improve myself. And honestly, most importantly, is what you feed in your brain. It's the same thing what you feed in your system. You want to be healthy? Well, you got to feed your brain healthy. So that's exactly how I did it. And I actually changed the group of my friends. Friends are super important, right? You want people to be to support you and help you, not just like, "Ah, I can't accommodate Kellina." And like, if someone can't accommodate me, you're out. Bye bye. I gotta cut you off, I'm not here stressing because it's already too much on my hand, especially listening and hearing. And for me, people think, how do I overcome the listening? And honestly, it, it's tiring. And because of my past, I do have a hard time accepting other people's help because I've been so bullied. And I'm afraid of letting people in. It's so hard. It's not easy. I'm working on it, and it's not something easy. And I tell people, your childhood trauma, it takes time. Don't rush it. I never want to rush it. I never did. But I knew it was going to take time because I did have a degree in psychology. And that's when I learned and instead, do not rush. Because if you rush it, you're going to screw yourself up in the future. And especially when you have your own kids, that's what the screwed up part. And people don't realize that you're going to pass it on to the next generation to the generation. It's really how you break the cycle. So I thought about my future right there. And then I said, okay, I don't want this for myself in my future. I need to change who I am with and what am I watching and what type of book I'm reading, And I know a lot of people don't like reading books, but I always tell people, watch what you see on social media and TV. If you notice that someone's throwing back negativity vibe or faking the lifestyle, which a majority of people are, I unfollow them, unfollow, like watch something different or even watch a lot of inspirational quotes or TV shows or something that's going to benefit your life.
I love that. I think that really focusing on you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I hear that a lot in personal development. I don't think a lot of people pay enough attention to that, but it's so true because as humans, we take on the character traits of the people that we spend time with. So if you're spending time with negative people, then you're going to become more negative. You're spending time with positive people or people that are at a level that you want to be at, it forces you to play at a higher level as a person. So I really love that you're implementing that into your life. What are some of your favorite books or podcasts or YouTube videos that you listen to for mindset or read for mindset?
I love the book. It's I think it's Be Myself. I don't remember what it was. I have it in my bookshelf, but it's one of those books, and it gives out a bunch of like points on what to say to yourself every day when you wake up, and it was really cool because it navigates different areas. Like for example, if you're trying to build yourself in business, or if you're personal growth, or recovering trauma, or anything along that path. But it was really interesting because I don't like reading books. That's the problem with me. I hate reading books. But then and a friend recommended it to me and I said, oh my God, I love this book. I'm gonna keep this book. So
Honestly, I'm the same. I hate reading books, but there's a couple ones. One of them is You Are a Badass. That book, I don't know if you've ever read that book. I love that book. Um, right now I'm reading Believe It by Jamie Kern Lima. She's the founder of It Cosmetics. Her story is incredible. So I just started that book. And then I have, of course, this entire like bookshelf of books that I bought and I haven't read yet because I went through this time period where I was like, I need all the personal development books. But audiobooks are a really good suggestion too for like people who really don't like reading, but want to still get the knowledge. Audiobooks are really, really good. So I highly recommend that. And I get them free through my library. So just kind of a little tidbit of information there. But let's talk about what you're doing now, because you're obviously in the process of writing a book now, and then you do work with other people as well. And so I'd just love to hear more about all about what you're currently doing and working on.
yeah, I do have a book coming out. It's called Every Day I Am Just Deaf. So it's about me being deaf in the hearing community. It's mixed with poetry and biography, which is kind of cool. And yes, I am a mental health coach for people who have disability, but I am also open doors for other people as well. Because I know a lot of people think, oh, but I do not have a disability, but I really love your work, Kellina. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I will take you in, no problem. And so with my mental health coaching, I focus on positive psychology instead of negative psychology, just because I feel like I love helping people with the present stuff to achieve their future goals. That's always been my goal. I love it. And I do have one-on-one family and couple sessions. And I am also a deaf advocacy, so I help people how to be inclusive for the deaf community because I am a deaf person. And what I do is I teach people how to be inclusive on social media platforms, know how to put closed caption on Zoom or Google Me or anything like that. And you kind of create to know how to make your brand more accessible. And what else am I doing? I am an international speaker, so I speak on a lot of things in terms of deaf, relationship, disability, and self-care development, entrepreneurship. So that is what I do. Yes, there's a lot of things.
I love that. So I want to get into a little bit about the coaching on the psychology perspective, because I don't know if you consider it full on therapy, but it is very closely related to therapy. And so for not even just the military community, but even the civilian community, therapy is like, it's still a little bit of a taboo topic for a lot of people. And it's very unaccessible for a lot of people. So, what I guess is your approach to therapy or to your sessions with people? Are you doing something different than what like your typical therapist is doing with like your coaching? Or is it the same, like you sit down virtually or in a room? And I think a lot of people, like I've done therapy before, but I think a lot of people see it as, like the therapist sitting across from the person with like a couch and it being just a lot of like, okay, so tell me about your day and how do you feel about that? And how do you feel about that? And like, and I know that that's not how every single therapy session is, but like, even for me, when I went to therapy, I found that some therapists that I saw, it wasn't like they were really listening to me. It was more just that they were like giving me tools and just like throwing stuff at me because like we're on a schedule, we got to go. So I'm curious what your approach is to therapy, just to provide some value to our listeners. And then maybe someone finds that you're a good fit and wants to work with you too. So yeah, take it away.
I love that question. My honesty coaching is very different from therapist. Same thing with me. I do not like when therapists think, "Oh, how do you feel?" Like I am somebody who likes to have conversational about different things. I don't want you to feel like I would never want my client to feel like they're a therapist. I want them to feel like someone actually understands where I'm coming from because I honestly, when I went to therapist, I did not feel comfortable because I felt like they were just asking me tools question or like off the book question. It's like I don't want this. This is not what I want. So I changed it up, make a conversation like, hey, how's your day going? What's going on? What can I help you with today? And then blah, say it to me. And I'm like, okay, what can we do better for the future? What can we do? What are you working on? And make it more purposeful, I would think, for them so that they can go home and be like, yeah, like my conversation with Kellina was so good. And I needed that conversation. So I did want my clients to feel that way when they leave my session.
I love that. I think the art of listening is something that a lot more people could learn. When you were in school for psychology, do they teach everyone kind of the same roundabout way? Because I know like medical practice, so like I took nursing school for 1 quarter, and it seems like in any kind of like medical related schooling, they're just teaching you like one very cookie cutter way. And I feel like that's why a lot of people just practice the same way and no one kind of takes things and runs with it and like humanizes it. Do they teach you like the human aspect of things, or is that something that you had to learn your own through mindset practice and development?
The school taught us exactly that. They teach us how to be counseling people. And I remember one of my professors, like, she said something, and I did not like it. And that's how I knew like, yeah, I could be a therapist, cool. But I thought coach was more my calling because I love having open discussion. I don't just like asking questions. I remember this one question, like, it was really like how can someone feel comfortable by asking that question? And I knew like that was not for me. And I was like, no, I will stick with coaching because it's more conversational. You can have the conversation your own way, and it just matter of making sure that you're making the client feel comfortable. And but I just don't like the way the tools were represented in the psychology session. I do not like it at all. So that's why I should become a coach.
I completely understand that. I want to talk about some of the beautiful moments in your life because I went to this Tony Robbins event last weekend. I talked about it on my last podcast episode, and one of the things that he really talks about is gratitude and just living in a beautiful state all the time. And so I just want to ask you, like, what are some of the most beautiful moments from coaching, from international speaking? Like, I just want to hear about like 2 or 3 of them.
The special moment is actually when I started the journey. It started when a little boy approached me, and I was working at Canada's Wonderland, and my hair was in a ponytail. I didn't care. I was on a break, and this little boy approached me. He's like, Miss," and I'm like, "Are you lost?" He's like, "No, like I just want to let you know I wear hearing aid too." And the mom came in full of joy and she's like, "Oh my God, you're deaf too. Like my son never met someone that is hearing." And then I'm like, "What? What do you mean he never met someone in the hearing community? Like, right?" And she's just like, "No, like she's like, think you did something like that, you're gonna change the world." And I'm telling you, you will. And right there, I just bited my heart because I was like, I knew this was my calling to be out there and teach the next generation that they can be themselves, they can be out there with the hearing community.
That is so amazing to hear. I love that. I love hearing positive stories. They touch my heart so much. So I have to ask, where can people find you if they want to work with you, or when is your book releasing so we can keep our eye out for that if you have an idea of that yet? And then I will make sure to put all your information in the description below for everyone that wants to find you or work with you or just chat with you. But if you could just tell us just so people can know, I would appreciate that.
Definitely. So I do have a website. Woo-hoo. So my website is KellinaEmpowerment.com, and Instagram. Everybody can find me on Instagram, which is Queen Boss. And lastly, my book will be released by May 1st. That is my idea, but that's definitely my goal. So yeah, so definitely check out my Instagram so you can keep updated when my book is going to be released.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your stories and your value. And I really hope that some people take advantage of reaching out and working with you because you're such a beautiful person.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen in today. Each week, I'll be bringing you value in the mental health space and its direct impact on service members and veterans. If you feel you personally got value today from this episode, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a 5-star rating and review and share this to your audience. Until next time, remember, your story matters, your mental health matters, and your story doesn't end here.